Hello and welcome back to Store Rai Rai Time, episode 2. I am Rai Rai, your host for this evening. Rai Rai, the Superfly guy, the put it in your arm but don't cry guy. And I am here to tell you a little story about a lady. Just kidding, that's the Brady Bunch. I am not the Brady Bunch. If you're looking for the Brady Bunch, look for 1960s TV. No, I am here to tell you a story and to find out what the hell I'm doing in this Minecraft world. I had a dream about Minecraft. Yeah, I'll say that again. I had a dream about Minecraft where I captured a bunch of donkeys and threw them in a hole and called it the asshole. So that's what I would like to get to. And I think that's funny as hell because I'm the funniest person I know. But anyway, I've digressed. My lovely story for you today. I was talking with one of my coworkers about what I should make this episode about. And we have a very common phrase where I work, which is, I want die. And that gave me the idea. We're going to talk about all the times I want die when I was working a high school job. So buckle up, kids. The shit's about to get real. Let's see. So when I was a kid, I say that like I'm not basically a kid now. I'm sitting here playing Minecraft in my apartment. But when I was younger, when I lived back at home, I'll tell you, I lived in St. Louis. I don't know if I've already said that, but I lived in St. Louis, just outside of Ferguson. Fuck, I'm out of pickaxe. And for a summer job, my sister and I would work at the pool. We did for many, many years, and eventually we got to the point that we were running the pool. We were co-managers in our last year there. That was before I moved to Iowa and started the job I've got now. But what the fuck is that thing? Oh my god, it's a fucking fox! I have to kill it. But when I was working at home, what does the fox say? I just fucking died. Oh, man, I've digressed so much. ADHD is a real killer, kids. But I was saying we worked at the pool about 10 minutes from our house, and as you may or may not expect in a pool in an urban area, there are often some very wild and outlandish stories, and I will tell you many of them. But today, we're going to focus on stories that involve fire, or explosions, or things like that. I'm going to die. You fucker. You fucker. I didn't die, because I'm a badass. So my first story. I've said a lot, too, also. I apologize for that. My first story is about a guy who is not my namesake, but has the same name. His name is Ryan, and at one point in time, he was my boss. And we were at, not the pool that my sister and I worked at, but the other pool in the city. And what a cunt. We were going there, and I was just going to help him clean and help him get the pool set up for the season. It was before the summer season even started. And I walk in, and he's mixing some chemicals, so I figure, I'll give him the space. And by whatever mixture he made, by whatever combination of bleach and hydrochloric acid and whatever else it was that he could possibly have been playing with, he managed to create more or less an explosion, a smoke cloud, huge smoke cloud. You could see it, you could smell it. It smelled like ammonia. It was awful, but you knew something happened all the way across the damn pool. You knew something happened, and I go running over, and Ryan is. He's in his maybe early 30s. He's kind of more of an adolescent than an adult at this point in his life. Hope he's doing well now, maybe. He did try and fire me once, but that's a whole different story. But Ryan is laying on his ass, just like completely on his back, sprawled out. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm not prepared for this. I haven't been trained in this. And he just sits bolt upright, just straight the fuck up and goes, what the fuck did I do? I'm like, dude, are you okay? He's like, I need to know how to do that. I need to know how to do it again. And he looks at me, he's like, to make sure no one else does it, so no one else gets hurt. So then, naturally, he and I spent the next 10 minutes trying to figure out what he mixed and what he did. Turns out he mixed a bunch of different chemicals together. It built up pressure in the 10-gallon bucket that he was mixing shit in. And it didn't actually explode anything. The pressure built up until the bucket blew. And if you've ever a fun science trick for y'all to do at home to kind of see like a mini version of this. You put some baking soda and some vinegar in a little film container or a pill bottle, and the pressure builds up until it just explodes and destroys the bottle. It's really cool, and a lot less dangerous than mixing hydrochloric acid and ammonium nitrate, um, amongst other things. I don't honestly even remember what the chemicals were, but moral of the story there: don't mix chemicals, kids. It's not good for your brain. Let's see. So the next one is about another explosion. This one is an actual explosion. So, for those of you that have never seen the inner workings of a pool, there's a bunch of huge PVC piping, like 6-inch pipes, and it's all hooked up to one motor. Most of the time, one motor, depending on the size of the pool. And if you live in the city that I lived in, you don't really take care of it. You don't winterize it. Oh fuck. You don't like make sure there's no dust or rust or grease or anything that's not supposed to be there. No, you just kind of let it go, and eventually it's going to blow up and try and kill people. So that was one of my last years working at the pool. I was just up there visiting. It was my day off, and I walked over to talk to a friend of mine who was at a stand that we call first walking. We call it that because it's the first one, and you walk. Pretty clever, right? But I walked over, and I heard this clunk that I swear to God, I felt it in my stomach when it happened. And what had happened was that the amount of shit in the air, because the pumps and the filters are all underground, so all the dust, all the lawn trimmings, all of the years and years and years of build and wear and tear have just worn on this motor. And the motor overheated and melted itself. We later found out, we called in some like actual technicians that weren't 19 years old. We called in actual technicians, and they pulled it open and looked at it, and the motor had literally melted itself, which was incredible. It was crazy. So they gave us like some half-ass fix where they put like a fake cover on. They put in a new fan, and they're like, "Well, I hope this works." And I walked downstairs, and that fan, if you've ever opened up a car engine when it's running, cars idle at about 980 revolutions a minute. This fan was going at least 2,000 from what I could just eyeball. And that is like a fan that spins 2,000 times every second. No, 2,000 times a minute. I lied. 2,000 times every minute. And I refuse to go back down there. And like, we'll feed chemicals a different way. We'll take readings a different way. I am not going anywhere near that thing. I'm going to lose a finger. I'm going to lose my head. It's not good. But luckily for me, it rained that day, so I didn't have to do anything. And then the next day, that fell apart and didn't work anymore. So that was the explosion that happened there. What other explosions can we talk about from the pool? Ooh, there was another one where part of having an outdoor pool, part of working at an outdoor pool, especially in a park, is that you get wasps. And I'm not talking like a little bee sting. I'm talking like put a grown man in the fetal position wasp. Like that, those motherfuckers are huge, and they're little assholes too. They'll get in your office and they won't leave because they're the badass. They're the head man in charge. You know what's up. And we eventually had a kid working for us whose her dad. I'm sorry, her dad worked for Parks and Rec. So like he would come up and they would take care of our leaves. They'd take care of like litter. They'd pick up all the shit in the park, all kinds of cool shit like that. But he comes up and he's like, "I've got some new stuff for you to try," and it's this industrial strength wasp killer, and it shoots like 100 feet. And I just killed a farmer. That poor farmer. ANF, the shit you push down and it kills the wasp instantly. It hits the wasp and the wasp comes to a dead freeze. And he's like, "Now, you're not actually really supposed to have this shit because it's not exactly on the market yet. Whatever you do, don't get it in your mouth or in your eyes or anywhere important in your body." So naturally, what do we do? No, I'm just kidding. We were very safe with that. We always use gloves. We always use eye protection, shit like that. But there was a day that we went up there. It was a tradition that all every 4th of July we'd have a big grill out, big cookout. Have some kids like go buy a pack of hot dogs on your way to work, and one of the bosses will sit up there and grill stuff for you, and you can eat it on your break. And I typically was able to swing that I had my day off on 4th of July. I paid my dues up front where I worked as a lifeguard, so that way when I was in charge, I never had to work it. It was awesome. So we are up there, and it's myself and a couple of my friends, and we've got a bottle of wasp spray because well, there's wasps, and we don't like that, especially in our hamburgers. And we don't we sprayed the day before, so the 3rd of July for those of you following along at home. We thought we got rid of all of them, but there was one left, one little fucker left, just buzzing around, like trying to sting people, just being a straight up asshole. If you're a wasp and you're listening to this, I'm impressed. But this little fucker, and I went and I got the thing. I was like, okay, listen, you guys are all lifeguards. I'm the manager. I can't let you use this stuff or be up here when you do. So, like, get the fuck out. Go down, take a swim, come back in 5 minutes. Most of them just kind of like went to the stairwell. So I'm capped, and I've got war paint on. I've got my bandana tied around my head, looking like Rambo and shit. I creep up. I'm in the prone position. I'm like, Alpha Tango Foxtrot, we got this motherfucker. And I spray. And not a second sooner had I hit the button on the nozzle that I knew exactly where I fucked up. I sprayed that wasp spray, like the killer, like Bell's palsy, like hope you don't mind looking like Michael J. Fox for the rest of your life, fucking bug spray in front of an open flame. The fucking wasp was like a foot from the barbecue, the open flame barbecue. And I'm like, man, I hope that doesn't turn into something bad. And as soon as that thought crossed my fucking mind, as soon as those synapses connect in my head, there was a fireball, I shit you not, the size of a goddamn Mini Cooper. And it knocked me on my ass, it burned my fucking eyebrows off, and I was just like, holy shit. And my sister comes running up, she was the one that was working that day, she's like, what the hell are you doing? And I'm just sitting there, like, smoldering, laughing hysterically, thinking it's the funniest fucking thing in the world. There's scorch marks all over. The paint is peeling on the pavilion already, and I'm just like, I thought it was the fucking coolest thing in the world. And I keep saying this like I was 12 years old, like, oh yeah, dumbass me. No, I was like 19, 20, and it was just I couldn't see. I was coughing. I was hacking. I was. If you're playing Pokemon, I was coughing and wheezing, all of the above, man. It was just a fucking mess. I'm sure I got like 85 types of cancer just by spraying bug spray into a fire. But I was like, oh my god. And she's like up there trying to make sure I'm okay, like administering first aid and shit like a good old lifeguard. And I'm just like trying to find the can so I can do it again. The can shot out of my hand and like cracked open. I was like, oh, this is awful. So flash forward a week later, Mr. Freddy, that's what we called the dude that gave us the goods, my hookup, Mr. Freddy. He comes over and he's like, hey, how'd you guys, like, are you done with that bottle? Like, did you use it all? And I'm telling him, like, oh, dude, Freddy, like, here's what happened. That stuff works fucking awesome. So if we could have like 12 more bottles, that'd be awesome. He's like, we can only buy them in like 1s and 2s because of how potent they are. I'm like, what do you keep saying how potent they are? What does this mean? And this dude looks at me with a straight face, not knowing what had happened on 4th of July, and goes, well, as a matter of fact, they've found that these bottles are highly pressurized and highly flammable, so they're used in, like, homegrown terrorist operations, and, like, we have to have a permit, we have to, like, have people sign shit, they have to be delivered at a certain time in, like, a secure vehicle. I'm just like, I just got real quiet. I looked down, I'm like, maybe you shouldn't bring any more of those back. And he looks at me and goes, I've known Mr. Freddy for a while, for, probably 6-7 years at this point. He looks at me and goes, you lit it on fire, didn't you? And I looked at him, I got that sheepish look that you kids get. I'm like, no, I promise I didn't do anything like that. And he goes, okay, listen, jackass, I've already been upstairs. I've seen the scorch marks. You lit it on fire. You're not getting any more. I'm like, but I'm getting my little puppy dog eyes out, like, but we need it. It's important for us to have because we need it. And he's just stoic. So that was the last time I got to play with heavily flammable, potentially terrorist items. And stay away from explosions, kids. That's a no-go, guys. Don't do that shit. So hope you enjoyed this episode of Story Right Time. If you did, hit that like button. If you didn't, don't fucking watch again, I guess. If y'all got ideas of what kind of stories you want me to tell, even if you don't know me, if you can come up with a word, I can come up with a story. Don't you worry. That was the word fire for today. I guess. Peace. Bye. That's language. Shakespearean English. We're gonna. Oh, I gotta do it now. We're changing to Shakespearean English. This is gonna be an extra long episode. Oh, it's reloading. Oh, fuck me. Thy visage's gaze. Oh, that's why I wanted. Full view on. Turn off. Is that? Oh, that's it. All right. Enjoy this episode and the post episode. Have fun, guys. Bye.